We're just getting news from the Rhode Island Department of Health confirming that the first death has now occurred as a result of Enterovirus 68, this outbreak that we've been reporting on for weeks. Apparently this is a child, and this death apparently happening last week. I want to bring in Dr. Tim Lipkin and also Sanjay Gupta, who are still with me. Sanjay, I'll just turn that over to you for a moment, because up until now, I think most of us were under the understanding that it wasn't necessarily a lethal virus, that you could beat this, and now we're hearing about a child dying.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the general sort of thinking about this, and we obviously had been talking more recently about the fact that this particular virus was associated with people developing weakness or even paralysis in some of the limbs. One of the things that you got to keep in mind when you think about this sort of thing is that a child who this is obviously a sad, tragic sort of story, but a child who has Enterovirus 68. You want to know a lot of things about this child. Were there other infections? Was the child sick in some other way? We do know people, for example, who have weakened immune systems are going to be less likely to do well from this sort of infection. So I think some of those details are still coming in I read the same report from Rhode Island that you did, but we talk about Ebola, we talk about all these different sort of pathogens. You keep in mind, Ashley, that regular flu kills some 30,000 to 40,000 people a year in this country, and it's sad to think about, but that's the reality. And enterovirus is one of those types of strains that can sometimes lead to death.
And Dr. Lipkin, I think that the Rhode Island Department of Health is also releasing that this child apparently was also afflicted with a staph infection. Does that make a lot of sense to you, reading that?
It does make sense. Enterovirus 68 has been spreading rapidly around the world. We began detecting it in some of the work we do in foreign countries 2-3 years ago. And there have been large outbreaks now, and of course there's one in Colorado.
Leading to death, though?
Not leading to death, but whenever anybody is compromised, as Sanjay has said, as a result of an infection of this sort, maybe the child was on a respirator, had a secondary infection with Staphylococcus, it could easily account for this sort of an outcome.